Laurie Huston's News for the Heart is dedicated to helping you give a voice to your own soul. Our hearts have the power to free us from pain and the struggles that keep us from awakening to our true essence. Join Laurie now as we delve into our heart and soul to find the path that will open us to the possibilities and lead us to the life we love to live.
And good afternoon. This is News for the Heart. Well, can't believe it's February already, and I know I keep saying that every month, but it's like it keeps just flowing by, and it's like, well, when, where, what? Anyway.
I know, and I'm getting older.
That too. I already had my birthday, thank you. Yeah. Aquarius. All right, well, it is the second Tuesday, which means I have my awesome co-host, Tracy McBurney, with us. So we obviously were chatting before the show. We seem to do this, and we've gotten into some really heavy stuff today. I'm sure the show will be amazing because we've sort of worked part of it out, but we're going to work with it continuously.
Yeah,
it's great when you're the podcaster host that actually needs all the work done, but you know, we all do it, right? Welcome to the show, Tracy.
Hey, Laurie.
We're going to work with something that you've been working on this week or the past week.
Something that came to my attention for a client to see, and it wasn't brand new to me. It's something called Autopilot Programming. And it was Dr. Art Martin that brought that to my attention. And quite honestly, I don't think he is here with us anymore. I can't seem to get him to answer anything. And so I really don't. He was quite old when I was even with him, and we were kind of working together and playing. So I'm thinking not.
Yeah, I remember looking him up, and he has passed. I can't remember when, but yeah.
But I'll tell you, I just thought there was nobody that understood the mind better than he did.
Mm.
And so this was one of the things that he brought forward, autopilot programming. And so with this particular client that day, that's kind of what I heard. That's kind of what I got a sense of. And I was like, okay, all right. And then I thought, all right, well, just this comes in and I got to stop and I got to get quiet. I got to see if I have a divine role here, or if it's just the role to even mention this out loud, autopilot programming. And I just want to be mindful. And so, let me have lunch and let me sit with this and I'll get back to you. And I did sit with this, and I didn't even sit with the question, do I have a divine role? I sat with, I just got a sense. At first I went, well, I'm going to go get Art Martin's manual. I'm just going to go remind, because he works with very long affirmations. And I got a sense, no, you're not heading back to Art Martin's manual right now, not this time. I was like, okay. So autopilot programming, not heading back to Art Martin's manual, not working with that longer affirmation. He was really good at those. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to have my lunch, get a piece of paper, get a pen, just sit and just be with what's going to come through. And it was very interesting. What came through first was automatic pilot programming created by us, like internally, by our brain, by our survival mind, but created internally. It was an inside job. During a time when we were traumatized, really feeling quite unsafe, some big conflict. And this automatic pilot programming coming in for our survival, to ensure our survival, to ensure our safety. So that automatic pilot programming created by us, maybe to control us, limit us, expand us, disrupt us, corrupt us, silence us, protect us, defend us. They gave me those words. I was like, okay, and more, but those were enough words for me to understand, like, wow, like internal automatic pilot programming, doing all of these things from within me, by me, and by the mind and by the brain. And that is something that I'm quite unclear of at this particular point. Is it the brain or is it the mind? Is it one of the survival minds that is stepping in to do that work? because it very clearly is about survival, and it very clearly is about safety, keeping you, me safe. And that is the foundation for the existence of that program. So it's not about you having a great life. It's not about you thriving. It's about your safety and your survival.
Okay.
So it was managing self. The automatic pilot programming is created for the management of self. And there could be quite a few of them. To manage our behavior, to manage our personality, to manage our cognitive wisdom or thinking, to manage brain function, biochemistry, thinking about self, thinking about others, to manage emotions, mental, spiritualness within us. They were just giving me all of these little categories. And then they moved on to the concept of, and then whatever was guiding here in light, moved on to the concept of the automatic pilot programming's not about managing of self, but about managing of others. And then I heard like drawing others to us. So if we have the issues of abandonment, or we have the issues of no support, or the issues of lack of self-worth, of powerlessness, to draw those to us that have the power, to draw those to us that have the worth, to draw those to us that we don't necessarily see as lacking the way we feel we might be lacking. To get our needs met in that way, to draw, to manipulate, to control another person. It was very obvious that with those programmings, there could be doorways open to entities and all sorts of things with the idea of the controlling of others. I feel like in all ways there could be open doors to entities, especially when we want to control ourselves or limit ourselves. Because we want to do it, and we want to do it well. We fiercely want to do it well. This is our survival. This is our safety. And so I was like, okay, all right. So they gave me words like manipulate others' feelings, manipulate others' hearts, manipulate others' behaviors, draw them closer, bring them into places where they would be communicating for us because we were in some sort of silence place, that they would speak for us, inspire them to help. And so and I knew there were more, but that was what they were giving. Then we got to a very interesting one. We got to one where the words were foreign shadow autopilot programs. And I was like, oh. And then I got a sense that these are not created by us. This is not an inside job. This is like us becoming vulnerable, boundaries collapsed, us becoming vulnerable through the trauma, through the conflict, boundaries collapsed, an openness to things outside of ourselves, even with our own mind saying, I can't do this myself. I can't manage this myself. I don't have any power. I am helpless. I can't do this. Victim, the people that play victim, the people that play the staying victimized, all of those people very vulnerable to having this kind of operating system where there's just an open door for things coming in from outside of self. In this case, the words were foreign shadow invaders. The word was invaders. I haven't written it down, but it is invaders. But I got the sense that could be extraterrestrial, that could be demonics, that could be, entities, that could be any of that. But it's things that we have now allowed to come in from outside of us. And they then would drain, and they would exhaust, and they would take down, and they would destroy. And they have the capacity to do that. I also got a sense that they, because of how they operated, or how a lot of them would operate, they had the technology to interface, I love that word interface, to interface with the very autopilot programming that had been created by you or me. So they would start to be able to corrupt that because they had the ability to do that. Almost like their own AI technology going in to interface with what we had created. And now that's corruption coming in to what, for us to create programming that is separate and not connected to the divinity within us, not connected to the light within us, not connected to the love within us, is by its own creation corruption, like corrupted. It's corrupted. It's separate. It's operating in separation. And now we've got further corruption coming in to what is already corrupted and separate. But at least when we were operating from our own corrupted and separate programming that wasn't being interfaced by this, let's call the shadow invaders, whatever, entities, demonics, ETs, we were in charge of it. We didn't know that we were being hijacked by our own programming. We didn't know that we were being controlled by our own program. We didn't know. We had no idea, but at least it was ours, and at least we were in charge of it, and at least we could stop it, and at least we could change it, and at least we could change the circumstances. And it also feels right now that I'm sitting here talking to you about it. This didn't occur to me before, but it's coming in now. These kinds of energies coming in from outside that would have the capacity to muck around with our brain. Not just with these programs, but with our brain. And I had not seen that before. And now that makes me upset. Mucking around with my brain, and then mucking around with my heart, maybe even my gut brain, maybe even my whole neurology, not just because we've let them in. We've let them in. We were vulnerable and we let them in. But on the day that I was really looking at this for this person, it really, my structure, my understanding was all about autopilot programmings and what needed to be released because it had taken hold, because there needed to be an awareness now of this, and these needed to be let go of and new brought in. The idea of I did my best at these times of struggle and conflict and trauma. I did my best. I did my best to survive. I did my best to stay safe. I did, but it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough because I didn't know myself well enough. No judgment. No prejudice. It just wasn't good enough because I didn't know myself well enough at that time. I didn't know that I had a light within myself. I didn't know I had a God within myself. I didn't know that I had a divinity within myself. I didn't know that I had a love within myself. I didn't know. And then you kind of sit with somebody who goes, well, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe I have a light within myself. I don't believe I have a God within myself. This is foolish, a divinity myself. I can't see it. I don't know it. Okay, could we just be the fool? Could we just be foolish today? Really? Like you're in a real pickle. You're in a real pickle. There's a real mess that's going on here. There's a real stubbornness. There's a real bashing of wills and a battle of wills. Really, something's got to give. Something's got to change. So what if, just what if, could we just play that what if game? What if there is a light within you that is there? What if there is a love within you? What if there is a divinity, a divine intelligence? What if that's true? And what if that is more than you reach to then, but you could reach to it now? What if? Then would you? Would you? Would you dare be the fool? Would you just dare to be fool? Like, what if it's a foolish thought? But you know what? Nothing changes if you don't say yes.
Can I just give the description of the Fool?
Sure.
That's a great tarot card, and it's actually the 0. So in most cases, it's either the first or it's the beginning of the journey. If you look at the card for the standard ones, it is an androgynous person. It may be male, it could be female, walking on a ledge. His foot is just about to go over the ledge. He also has a wolf with him or a dog. And it's basically to say, can you trust that as you take that foot and move past the cliff, that the universe is there to support you? That is exactly what the Fool is about in astrology or in tarot, is that can you trust that when you take that step over the ledge, with your dog or your wolf, that there will be something there to catch you. The fool is a perfect, perfect thing to discuss.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's also a little bit interesting to remind you of that in the current situation that you're in. Yeah, interesting. So this is where I was guided. I'm there with my lunch. What I was saying to that client is I'm pushing back a little bit. I know autopilot programming is important here. I know it. I've got it delivered in. Again, don't know if I'm the right person. And I want you to be with the right person. So, and then there's just this sense as I'm eating lunch, it's like, this has to be done right. This change is going to stick and it has to be done right. So then I'm just sitting with that. Well, what does that mean? What does that mean? So I've got all this information about these autopilot programmings and what's going on for him or potentially for you or any of us. And then I got a sense, I was delivered into a sense of congruence, that he was to be brought into a place of congruence where the head brain, the heart brain, the gut brain were all working together, connecting, talking to each other, with one another, all connecting into the internal light, all connecting into the internal love. And so it was really just sending him a text saying, be willing to allow your light to do that job for you right now, because you need to be delivered into congruence, which would be saying, be willing to allow your God within to do that for you right now. Like your brain might not have a freaking idea about what I'm talking about, but it's allowing your divine intelligence, your light within, your love within, your sage self, as the positive intelligence people would talk about it, to do that job for you, because it's important that you be lined up in that way and you be centered to absolutely maximize the capacity for this change to be received in and received into the body and received in love. So that was the first piece. And so he was to say yes to that, be in agreement with that or not. And I was having lunch, so it's like, I'm just typing it out. Okay, so you're reading this. You need to give me back the yes. And the second piece was about a willingness to allow that divinity, a willingness to allow that God within, that sage self, whatever the higher power of light within, it's all an inside job, to now take care of the managing of the terrain, the rebalancing of the terrain within, the healing of it, the uncorrupting of it, the cleansing of it, whatever it was. That was a piece that was really important. If we're going to anchor in new change, it has to come in to the right terrain. Terrain being like the soil inside of us that's going to anchor the new plant. It's going to anchor this new little sapling plant, or it's going to literally grow something from a seed. And so it was just a sense that needed to be taken care of. And there was no discussion about what is the terrain, what's in the terrain. I wasn't being told that I needed to deliver any more understanding about that. He just needed to say yes to allowing the terrain to be divinely, that was the term, divinely administered to, divinely tended to, whatever that meant, including like a complete transplanting of terrain or a changeover. So those two things needed to be said yes to. And then I got a sense that, yes, I was stepping in to be helpful to this. And so it was his willingness to allow for these programs that had been created, really created for survival and safety, to manage self, to manage others, created from within, to be 100% released, 100% let go of, 100% lifted into light, and to allow for that. In all time, all space, all eternity, simply, safely, permanently, painlessly, peacefully, to allow for that change. In other words, his willingness to recognize, I did my best. I did my best to create things inside of me, from the brain, from the minds, to keep me safe, to help me to survive at times when my survival was really called into question as I saw it and as I felt it. I did my best, but I was not reaching for enough of me. I didn't even know any more of me than I reached to. I reached to what I knew, and it wasn't good enough. It wasn't enough. When I say wasn't good enough, that's not a judgment. It's not a, you're lacking. It's just, you didn't see enough. Nobody talked to you about any more than you had available to you to grab onto. And then it was understanding there were these other energies. They called them the foreign shadow invaders. And they needed to also be fully 100% surrendered. And it was really important in all of that all this happened without prejudice and without judgment. All of this happened with thanks. Thank you to the brain that created these, whatever brain it was. Thank you to the minds that created these. Thank you to the people in the past that created these. If our minds and our brains just grabbed onto wiring from the past, thank you. Thank you. But it needs to be better now. I need to be better. I need to do better. I need to do better. This all needs to be better than it was created. No judgment. These foreign shadow invaders, they're draining and exhausting, taking down and destroying. Thank you. Thank you. You came in, you started to corrupt my own programming, you started to do this, and now here I am so drained, so exhausted, so taken down, financial, such a mess, so much of a mess that I'm having this conversation, that I'm drawn to this conversation, and I'm forced into this conversation from the place of I have to do something. I don't want to do something, but I have to do something because it's gotten way too bad, way too bad. Now, for him, I did not have to explore any idea of terrain. For the next person I was working with several days later, which of course, once you know something and have a look, then of course, what are you going to do? You're going to find like the next 5 people need to know this. Yeah. But in her particular instance, it was interesting because she needed a little bit of something consciously brought forward with regard to terrain, where there was going to be no open door to do this change and to do this work. She needed to understand from heart that one of the reasons why she was there, continuing to loop in the circumstance that she was in over and over and over again for like 40 years, one of the reasons why she was there, or the only reason why she was there, what heart said to her in head, as she channels it into head, 2 words: to suffer. That's why this was happening to her, to suffer. And when I started to ask, and so that's terrain. That's part of her terrain. That's part of the corrupted terrain that everything was growing from and being created from. And so I started to ask questions about that. So this idea to suffer in the ways that she had been suffering was not divinely guided, and she cared about that. She cared about things being divinely guided or not. And so when she heard that it was not divinely guided and she felt that answer, then that's it. It was up for change. It was actually up for change. It was just easy to be up for change. And then we started to see that this was her having the human experience that was accepted. Like, to be human was to suffer, and this was her suffering, and it was to be accepted. And it wasn't to be challenged. It was just what is. That's just the way it is. Just like some of the, well, that's just the way it is for women. What are you talking about? Well, that's all you get. What are you talking about? That's kind of where we are now. We're starting to get to a place where what was just acceptable is being questioned. But for the longest time, no. So she was just accepting the suffering. angry about it, upset about it, the enslavement, the being enslaved, but nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. The helpless, powerless, nothing I can do. It's just what it is. I'm human. I chose to be human. This is the way it is. Nothing I can do. Suck it up. Make the best of it. But now she was getting to the place where she didn't want to make the best of it. She didn't want to make the best of it. She was pissed off, upset. She wanted more for her life. She didn't want to make the best of it. And so we were then able to see that. We were then able to release those ideas because they were not. So we were consciously changing some things in the terrain because she needed to hear it and she needed to understand those pieces. She really needed to consciously understand why she kept doing what she was doing and why it wasn't changing. Because she was truly and absolutely not feeling good about herself, that all these years had gone by and things had not changed. So she needed to understand these things. The other client, much younger. He didn't have another 20 years of being stuck somewhere going round and round and round. So he didn't need to know so much about why things hadn't changed for so long because he hadn't had too much of a so long to talk about, was my thought. But I was very grateful to this second client for that piece of information because I think that's a very common thing. I stay here, I do this for no other frickin' reason other than I am here, I am human, and this is my suffering. Screw off. Except I don't want you to screw off, I want you to help me, but I'm not open to your help. But I want you to help me, but I'm not open to your help. So that was interesting too, to literally do the work to change the terrain. To have her literally say out loud, getting into that connection, getting into congruence, letting that light bring her into that congruence, letting her own divine bring her into that place where the brains are listening and the brains are together and the brains are working together and the brains are all in agreement and everything is connected to light and everything is connected to divinity. And we're doing that work. And her saying out loud, I command this to change. I recognize this idea to suffer that I have been stuck in, this idea that I am here and I stay here and I change nothing about this because it is the suffering that is accepted, but meant to be. I am releasing myself from believing that, from holding on to that, from having that anchored inside of me for one simple reason. It's not divinely guided. It goes now. And I bring in what is. I let that come right into the terrain of me. And I absolutely give full permission for my divinity, my God Son, to administer to the rest of the terrain that needs to be shifted, changed, uncorrupted, cleansed, cleared, and managed so that I can bring forward this other change around autopilot programming. And I'm doing that now, commanding that now. In a time, a space, all eternity, simply, safely, permanently, painlessly, and peacefully. I am not fooling around. When I turn to my light, I turn to that love within, I turn to that divinity within, make it so. And I looked at her, and I authentically said, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for participating in changing how it is to be human on this planet. Thank you. Because what I know about her is she doesn't change something just for herself. When she makes a change and comes in there else to make a change, she is making a change for hundreds. She is taking hundreds with her, thousands with her. She's a fourth level healing person, and she's not feeling it, which meant that there were thousands of people that had been made ready for the change that we made in my office on that day. Thousands. Not just her, because she's not playing small. And she's just not working for herself. And it's a cool thing to think. As you might have this idea that, so much to heal inside of myself. Oh my God, so much to heal, so much. And to think that somebody else somebody else who had a skill set coming into this planet to be a 3rd level healing person or 4th level healing person. When they get it and when it's time, they shift something, and it shifts for hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of people all at one time. And their life changes in an instant, wherever they are, having coffee, sleeping, watching television. Something lifts, something shifts, something changes in the matrix of them, and they did nothing other than allow themselves to be changed in their sleep, allowed themselves to be changed while they're watching TV. So this whole kind of idea of we have to heal everything, we have to do all of this ourselves, we have to figure it all out, those days are gone. Because it's not true. And there are things I think fundamentally we're not supposed to heal at all. We're supposed to just surrender them. We're supposed to give them back. That serenity prayer. You know, that idea of know what is yours to heal and what is yours to surrender out, however the wording works. So then we did the same thing for her. Just the releasing of those automatic pilot programs to manage self, to manage others. The ones that were not created by her, I'm going to call them shadow-born invaders. And yeah, and then it's not just about releasing those. It's about going, we've created empty spaces. We've created empty spaces. I don't want her or me or you or somebody else to not feel safe. I want you not to feel that you're going to survive. You're going to survive this change. Letting divine light come in. Letting divine love come in. Letting sage self enter in to take up those spaces where I was before, but not enough of me. And then not allowing the shadow foreign invaders to take up any space at all. But say thank you, bye, letting you go with thanks. You made it ugly for me. You made it so unsafe. Me who needs it to be safe. You made it so much more suffering than is in my programming to suffer. You made it so much messier. Good job. Good job. You made it so untenable that I'm here doing this work. Good job. Great job. I don't think I would have changed a thing without you if it hadn't gotten this untenable, this messy, this horrible, this ugly, this stressful, this financially messy. Maybe I just would have allowed it all to continue, but I can't. And I can't because you entered and you messed it all up more. And I thank you. And I fully release you. I needed you to make it worse. I needed you to make it messier. I needed you to corrupt it to this level. Obviously, I did. No judgment. Just my thanks. Divine hugs to you. Divine hugs to my brain, all my brains. Divine hugs to all of the survival minds that might have participated this lifetime or another, mine or somebody else's, to create all these programs needed when there was no ability to know greater self. Thank you to all of it. Divine hugs to all of it. Divine hugs to my ego. Divine hugs to my little ego. And I don't know what that means, but I keep saying it for the last week and a half. I just don't quite know about that yet. Divine hugs to my pain body, my pain bodies. Divine hug to my physical body. We've gone through a lot. Divine hug to my aura and all the levels of my aura. Divine hug to me. Divine hug to me in all of the places that I exist. Divine hug to my soul. Divine hug to my spirit. Divine hug to everybody that participated in bringing me here. And dread. Divine hug to everything that worked, and divine hug to everything that didn't work. I need it all. Blessings to it all. And I personally think as I say all of this way, this is triumph. Like this is the moment of triumph. This is what I think Greg Braden is talking about when he says the Dead Sea Scrolls talks about the 7 wars that humanity will be in. 3 won by darkness and 3 won by light. And then there's the 7th And I'm paraphrasing it, but he says something like, and in that seventh war, there is no winning, there is no losing. That seventh war ends in triumph. And humanity will never get to that place of triumph if they do not reclaim the divinity within themselves. In reclaiming the divinity within ourselves, there is no judgment. It's an absence of judgment. There's an understanding that it was all needed, it was all necessary. Everything that was delivered, necessary, needed, in exactly the doses and exactly the pinches that it was delivered into. Everything to be felt, everything to be learned. We already had a discussion about the autopilot programmings before we got on the call, so I think a ton of work was already being done for you even then. Yeah. And then as I'm mentioning all of this even more, yeah, it just feels like you're one of the people that you don't necessarily have to repeat the affirmations. It's like once you get it, and it's shifting and it's moved. And
I feel it shifting, yeah.
Feel is truthful.
Yeah, I feel much lighter now.
Yeah, so it's us recognizing how we took us down.
Right.
How we took us down. What we did to ourselves to ensure our own survival. Not just what somebody else did. And we did all of that because we just didn't know. We didn't know us. We didn't know that divinity of us. We didn't reach far enough into ourselves. We reacted, we freaked out, we got fearful, and we did our best. And now we can do better.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I'm sitting for. That's where I am with humanity right now. We did our best. We did our best. Would some people say a shitty job? Yeah, okay. But we did our best.
Right.
We did our best with what we could reach to within ourselves. We did our best with the resources that we saw we had available, the ones that we could grab onto or felt entitled to. We just did our best. No judgment.
Yeah.
But now we can do better. We can do better. We can know more of who we are.
What I think is great about the work you do, especially the non-judgmental part, it's like we can finally sort of breathe into it instead of not breathing and getting fearful and getting stuck and the spiral. When the spiral starts, it can go really, really low. But then as you talk and as you identify and as you bring in the stuff, it's like, oh, right. I can know this stuff, and yet but this is a new piece. It's not something that was ever in my environment. I didn't know. I thought we dealt with the entities stuff, but I can see how important it was to me because it's been something that I've sort of been dealing with most of my life. And although I healed a very large aspect of my core fear, this piece has been a hard one because it was so ingrained with the abandonment. And now that it's not necessarily attached to the abandonment, it's still a very tactile. It's something that once the spiral starts, like once something occurs that I start looking at all of the stuff where things just aren't moving and I feel really stuck and I felt it for a while now. It's just like, and you want to blame the other person. And that's the piece I think I wanted to bring in, is that it's so much easier to blame somebody else, right? It's so much easier. And you want to, you want them also, like, as you do the work, it's like, oh, can I help them? It's like, I need to help my first self first. And since there's no judgment, and since it's something that has been in my life for so long, obviously it's still my issue. Whether it's the other person's issue, it doesn't really matter, because it's a piece that I have held on to for too long that has had me spiraling various different times in my life. And it's so invasive. Like, it was just so took over everything. But as you talk about it, then I get to go, oh, wait, it's not his fault. It's not their fault. It's not the fault of everything not progressing. And it's not my fault, which is a very big piece. But at least I have an ability to shift it, because it is within my ability. And I do recognize the divine. So it releases all of that angst that, well, how am I supposed to fix somebody else? How am I supposed to control what's happening in their life? Like all of that stuff that's still there. Wait a minute. Maybe it's not about that at all. It's about how I created, how I allowed, how I opened up, so that I'm not sure if suffering is the exact word, but it does feel right. But it's almost like it's that savior thing. It's almost like that's the piece, is that I keep wanting to save everybody else but myself. And I blame and get so upset when.
Well, it's okay. So I'm just going to, if I can throw this out to you, I agree. I keep trying to save everybody else, but not myself. But if we really saw it maybe a little bit different way, I keep trying to save everybody else, or I need to save everybody else. Not I keep, but I need to save everybody else. And then I also come to a place of sacrificing myself.
Yes.
So it's not about not saving myself. It's about sacrificing myself. And so this is about saving me. It's about sacrificing me. I save them and I sacrifice me.
Right.
I save them. I sacrifice me. I need to sacrifice me and I need to save them. That's the way it is. That's it. That's what I do here.
That's what I do.
That's what I do here. I sacrifice me and I save them.
Yes.
Screw off. That's what I do here. And maybe ultimately that's the suffering.
Right.
But I don't know. But when we just start to kind of just want to seat with all-knowing, healing heart, and we come into congruence and we just want to sit with that, maybe then we start to get an understanding of, how did I get there, right? Or maybe it's just so gone now. Like maybe it's just like, wow, I really just don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's just a program and I just don't really need it. It's a coded program. I just really don't need to do that anymore. It's just lifted like a cloak. I get to be human. I get to be here. I get to exist here without existing that way. Like if you think of the chakras, it's almost like there's the chakra, the red chakra, the root chakra governing existence. Like I exist, except all the stories that say, well, I exist to sacrifice myself and save others. Oh, so that's not, so you can't just exist here unconditionally. You have to exist here and so it's cleansing, clearing that chakra to just make it, to simplify it like algebraic equation, just to sit like, no, you just exist. You just exist here. Like all that other stuff that's clinging on, no, we're just cleansing, clearing that so that you can just exist here. Almost like you're allowed to just exist here. It's okay for you to be here.
Maybe that's the piece.
You don't have to be here with some story that I'm here correcting something. I'm here getting punished from something. Like it's okay for you to be here. It's funny that we're talking about this because I sometimes will feel like, you go to some of these places and you walk up the steps to a beautiful hotel. Like I can remember in Ottawa, like the beautiful, like 200-year hotel in Ottawa. And we were staying there for 2 nights. And I'm like looking around like, it's not okay for me to be here. And it's that feeling like it's not okay for me to be here. Like, and it's a real feeling. It's not okay for me to exist here. Like I shouldn't really be here. Like this isn't for me. And you're just kind of, and I'm just going and to really feel that this isn't my hotel room. These aren't my people. This isn't for me. I'm not of this class. And even when I look around and I see people that clearly are of, if you want to call class, clearly of all different kind of class types, and it still wasn't changing in my head that this wasn't a place for me. And think about that. If you've got that wiring sitting at root chakra, that this isn't a place for me, then how many times do you just feel unsafe? How many times are you just walking into places where you just feel absolutely unsafe because I'm not supposed to exist here. I'm not supposed to be here. This isn't a conference room for me. This isn't a hotel for me. This isn't a restaurant for me. A belonging, an embedded belonging conflict at root chakra level that, how old is that? And how unsafe is that? And how much does that poke at survival? And how do I survive here? Like if I'm here and I'm not supposed to be here, I'm not supposed to exist here. How do I survive here? How do I hide here? How do I get away with this? And it's interesting that all of those programmings could actually be trying to manage that, rather than just let you connect to, or me connect to, that light within myself, to get more news bites on that, to get greater clarity on that, to just get this feeling come up from that light place, from that love place, that just helps you to feel that you're okay. You're okay. You're loved and you're okay. You're loved and you're supported and you're okay. Move forward. It's okay. You're good. Get on that elevator, go into that hotel room, have dinner. It's okay. You're good. Something's holding you. Something's with you. Something's supporting you. Or that whole internal, obnoxious, insecure wiring is just not reached to because you're reaching to yourself. And all of that automatic pilot programming can get in very much in the way of that. You, me, everybody else reaching to the truth of themselves, that core light and love within themselves, to help them, guide them, hold them, educate them, aid them in discerning what is truth and what is not truth. We need this. We need this connectedness to self. Some people have said, answer the question, who are you? Mm-hmm. And if somebody said that to me, I'd probably very openly say, I am light. I am light. I am light. How do you see yourself? How do you see yourself?
You asking?
Right? And somebody else would kind of look and go, but that feels like something that when I say it, it feels truthful. It runs in my body. I don't feel self-conscious by that or by saying that. Well, who are you? Who are you anyway? I am light. I am light. And who do you see yourself as? What do you see yourself as? Interesting, not who, what. What do you see yourself as? Do you see yourself the same way, or do you just limit yourself to seeing yourself as I am lawyer, I am father, I am mother, I am sister? I am those things. But at the deepest, truthless core of me, I am light. And I draw from that light. And I heal with that light. And I guide with that light, and I allow that light to guide me. And having these automatic pilot programmings, that's not working for me. But I know they were the best that I could do or reach to before now. I was watching a movie, and I know we've only got a couple more minutes, but I was watching a movie the other day that was just so moving. It was called, and you haven't watched it, please watch it, Becoming Warren Buffett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I go, whoa, well, where'd we get this? But I love Becoming Warren Buffett. I am becoming a different Tracy McBurney. I am becoming a Tracy McBurney that can say out loud, if somebody says, who are you? I could actually say, I am light. If they said, what are you? What are you? What are you? What? I am light. I could actually say that. I am light being. I am light being Tracy McBurney. Who are you?
I love it.
And I loved the movie.
Really?
I loved the movie. Was just a movie taught me so many things. He really was a teacher in that movie. It was a very, very enjoyable movie to watch. And I loved the title, Becoming Warren Buffett. He has changed so much in the years that he has been on this planet, and he's still alive. And I am very grateful for the fact that he is. I think he stands here in his own light, and he brings an ethic to the financial world that is profound. And I don't know where we'll be when he leaves this planet. And just to see how his first wife, changed him and grew him and expanded him to understand, the value of giving away money, not just compounding it and keeping it and compounding and keeping it, but the value of philanthropy and the giving away of that money. And he's very good at making money. He's super good at making money. But what he has done and what he has given that money away to, and the foundations and the people and the organizations that have been supported by that, profound. But that is, I don't know whether he would answer, I am light,
right,
in the Becoming Warren Buffett, but he is.
Mm.
He is. He's a very profound light on this planet. And yeah, so I just wanting to end today with that. Becoming Tracy McBurney. The joy of becoming Tracy changes a little bit. Becoming Laurie Huston. Us becoming our best selves in body on this planet because we want to.
Nice.
And we care about them.
All right. Well, great place to stop. You've been listening to News for the Heart. We've been getting the heart of what matters with Tracy McBurney.
I think he needs some water.
And that's it. And yeah, becoming Tracy, becoming light, becoming over.
Well, I don't know if it's becoming light, allowing that light
shine
in self to shine more out, to be known more, not limited by autopilot programming.
Nice.
Just to allow for that. You, me, everybody else, we are light. We just hide it.
Yes. Yeah, we do. A good job of it too. All right. We'll be back next month. Thank you, Tracy.
Okay. Love you.
Love you too.